What's up, you guys? It's Shauna here, and I kind of got the. I can totally admit whenever I'm in the wrong, and I let emotion take over my report yesterday regarding Sebastian Rogers, and looking back, it was like that's how I felt in the moment, and I'm one that always will like pause when it comes to reactionary postings and stuff like that. But like whenever I hear this stuff in the background on TV, I'm trying to stay focused, and then I just like hear like that this person is their kid is missing. They go to another state to search and just assume that we're put it on us essentially to bring Sebastian home. That's fine. That's what we signed up for. What we're getting mad about, I think, at this point is we're getting frustrated with the entire situation. Um, Especially if you have been in any of the groups where you're seeing Chris Broadfoot posting. It's almost like a tease type of thing. Like he says really inappropriate things that would definitely signal a red flag. But I went hard on Katie, and I have since removed that video. One, because it makes me look like I have lost my freaking mind, and two, because it was just berating. It was, just it was very unlike me. My emotions will start to run high, and that's not an excuse. Usually I halt, I check myself, I do all the things especially before I jump onto social media. My makeup and stuff like that I don't really care about, nor do I really give a crap about quality, because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just somebody who owns a business and does civic work. And knowing that I already had a YouTube channel, being able to use that platform to share this information, that was the entire point. I'm worried that because I did act in such a way that it reflects me in a different way. Now, it is easy at this point to start to speculate. It was easy to start speculating early on, but we have, here are just the facts. We have, I say we, it's a royal we, whether it's somebody who sent me an article and I put that on, or just what's going on in the area, to kind of paint a picture of the ongoing insurmountable amount of time that we're putting in. But it would be horrible if I did not acknowledge other people, other people that are not related to this case that have been found. Hopefully those people can be properly identified, and some closure can be brought to some families. And we had another one this morning. It looks like a fishing type accident, where it was an older gentleman and a child. And of course, when these come in, your initial thought is, oh my God, please don't let it be. And I've learned really fast that even if it's not, like, that's still somebody that had a family, was a mother or a brother or a sister or a cousin, niece, nephew to someone. and they deserve to have closure. Those families that, for whatever reason, some people say like some of these people are homeless. Being homeless does not make you a bad person. Many of us are struggling very hard, and to be able to have the privilege to, be able to sit here and report what I report. I think it's important that we also take time to acknowledge that while that isn't necessarily the person that we're looking for, that is a human being, and they deserve the same amount of respect, um, and not to have, when we do these searches, we may record them, but one thing, we do not record live if we don't have to, because we're not gonna, I don't want to be responsible for being on the search and then with no trigger warning for myself or for any of my audience, if I were to, pull away brush and see, and I can't do that again. I can't. That was really traumatizing. But at the same time, you still have to do what you can. And at the end of the day, I know it's 31 days since Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers of Hendersonville, Tennessee, went missing from his home. A lot of details are out there if you want to look up where the home is. I want to start kind of backing away from looking at this person and this person and this person, and I'm just gonna let time and consciences, whatever. I'm gonna let the truth come out on its own. Um, Now, if there is something that I do have to say that is of relevance, and you have a question about it, maybe you don't know something and you want to clarify something, if I have that answer, I will give it to you. Additionally, if I agree with your statement, I will put that in and why. If I disagree, I will cite as to why. I try to keep personal opinions to myself, but heightened emotions got the best of me, and I want to apologize to Katie Proudfoot for the way that I came at her on social media. It was very childish, and it was very immature, and somebody like me should know better. With that said, this day, we do know where the Proudfoots are. They're not in Tennessee. If you want to find the information out, you can. It's out there. I'm not going to share it. But we do know that they are out of this state, and they are not at Stafford Court. We do know that Seth Rogers is not exactly taking a break, but he's letting another organization kind of take the reins on some things. Now, we're getting mixed information on the UCN versus the original CN versus the OG CN and these different branches. You guys, anybody who is trying to solicit donations, there's a difference between soliciting, asking for donations, and proving that these donations are going to go towards the search effort or the reward effort or whatever we can do. That's why I have the buttons that I have. They're for purchase. I get $1 off of each one because that's what it cost me to make it. And then I am sending them with other additional things. But it's not about making money for me. I volunteer my time. I'm volunteering everything else. A lot of people have a lot of really great ideas, and we're getting DIY friendly now. Um, but ultimately, the point being is that Sebastian needs to be reunited with his family, and they need to be able to, God willing, he is hidden somewhere. That is what my husband believes, and he just still has that same feeling that he is just hidden. I have my own reasons to think that as well. Um, and this is just solely based on some factual information that we have, and using common sense, and also using the discrepancies that we have heard from two main source characters. However, it is important that I hold myself accountable, especially on a platform where I hold so many other people accountable. And I apologize, Katie. I do apologize for that instance. Now, if anything else is to come and it is factual based, let the chips fall where they may. Sebastian, not a day goes by that one of us out here are not pounding the pavement, putting up a flyer, calling your name, searching our yards, searching just, our areas and stuff like that. I know we've been called off of doing any type of searches. I get that, but there are other ways to continue to engage with the community that doesn't have to do with search parties and cross-contamination DNA evidence, because this case is going to come down to some very key core brass tacks issues. We want to make sure that if something did happen and the police do have to get involved, that they can, beyond a reasonable doubt, prove whether something went wrong. And let me reinstate that the law enforcement is not here on behalf of any of the adults in this case. They are here for justice and accountability for Sebastian Rogers. They don't owe us any information. Any information that they have, if it got out, would be impertinent information to this case that only a select few people might possibly know. I think that's why we haven't seen any more of the footage. That I know it's been claimed that it has nothing to do with this, but two lights happening on the same night, to me, like, that's something I couldn't get out of my head. Even if I saw like the source of it, I would be like, okay, but why on this night? Why on this night did you have, like, these lights going through pathways and stuff? And also, we have to assume that if we just got a clip of this small amount of footage, there might be more footage out there that is not being released on purpose. A lot is going to come to digital tracking, digital data, as far as GPS to text to locations, everything. So every day we get up and we pray and we do what we can do. I use the royal we. I have been working on flyers and everything else. I've been doing a lot of different things, but I do have to give myself a break. Not only do we have this case, we have some upwards of 700 different cases, which include cold cases and unsolved cases, missing cases, presumed missing, presumed runaway. And as the temperature heats up, just like anywhere else that is, has bad weather, stuff like that, we're gonna start coming across a lot of unfortunate souls who froze to death, who didn't have proper shelter, didn't have anywhere to go when these storms set in, and essentially they died from hypothermia, and combinations of other things. And it's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot more happening before, hopefully not too much before Sebastian is home. But until he is, we will continue to be sharing the story, spreading awareness, doing the thing, getting things done, and keeping Sebastian front and center. That's what's most important about this. Also, keeping our tempers and our emotions, keep those down. I know it's really hard when you start seeing things or you're hearing things that go against everything that you feel, and that can manifest into being upset, to being forlorn, to being 100% positive about this, to being completely lost, devastated, crying, angry. All of it can mesh together, and then the wrong time, you just end up laying into somebody who is having an awful time right now. And if they're not having an awful time right now, they're gonna have an awful time at some point. Because, once again, Sebastian didn't just take off. Everything under the sun, as far as his routine, just, the math doesn't math. And that's why I'm glad that NG did ask some very pertinent questions about Sebastian's shoes. Like, I was wondering if he had possibly like house shoes or something that he would wear. Even though the house, you're inside, like maybe he's a kid who doesn't. So she did ask a lot of like pertinent questions that kind of filled in some gaps. But and that was really good. But she also relayed to the public again that innocent until proven guilty. And this is true. And I do understand with missing persons cases, usually the last person to have seen that person is suspect number one. And that's with many cases. I would imagine with a missing person, it would be about the same. You would be looking at the people most close around, and I understand that. However, to scream at Katie, and me, myself, act like a mad woman because I'm getting impatient, I'm getting angry, I'm getting frustrated. Not frustrated with Sebastian, frustrated with the situation. Frustrated that it has been 31 days and we don't have a breadcrumb of evidence as to where this child is, where he was. And the only thing that makes sense right now is that he is hidden. So we pray. It also says on the flyer that Sebastian takes medication. If this is medication that he has been taking that has to be taken every day, something that builds up in your system, or if it's as simple as an SSRI, or if it's something that is a controlled substance, we need to remember that Sebastian has not had that medication in 31 days, aka he is in a full detox. This is going to further cloud his judgment, cloud his thinking. He's going to be sick. He isn't going to understand what's going on. He will hallucinate, possibly. I'm not a medical professional, but I do know what happens when you just stop taking certain medications. Now, to say what those medications are, I have no leads, no business to put that out there. Even if I did, I wouldn't put that out there because that would be under HIPAA, and no, I'm not getting into that. But just to presume, That's a flyer saying that he has a medical condition that may impair his ability to get home, with the added knowledge that he does take medication every day. So that's one of the big pieces that we now have on top of that is when we do come across Sebastian, his state of mind, his state of being, if he has been taken, he's being held against his will, we don't know how he's going to react. And so I think it's important to remember that, we're dealing with a child who is scared, who is probably hungry, who is missing his support system, is confused, possibly hurt, possibly being hurt. We don't know. And that's another reason why I think it's important that there's certain information that is not shared. I understand that. But we will continue to report on just the facts. We are not going to be screaming at anybody. However, the first Dear Katie Proudfoot, that will stay up. But no more going against this person or that person, unless it's just a factual part of this case, which, even if that means movement or lack of movement or anything like that, I still need to remember that I don't know. Nobody knows. So until that information comes out, I need to put my chill hat on and remember to pray, remember who I am, remember my agency, remember what I stand for, remember who I am. I think I already said that. And just remember that we are all human. Sometimes we make mistakes and I can't imagine how they're feeling, all of the family. So, yeah, that's on me, and I'm owning that. So, until I see you guys again, thank you. Do the things if you feel like doing them. We will be doing a live flyering effort as soon as I get the okay that my leg is good and I can walk again. Until then, it's just going to be me kind of preparing things so that when the day comes, I can just get back to it and get back to work. Alright guys, I love you. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for listening to my confessional. It wasn't really easy for me to get on here and admit to millions of people, but at the same time, I do feel better, and I do realize I was wrong, and I do ask for forgiveness. I am human, and I do make mistakes, and when I see those mistakes, I do genuinely sit with them and think about it, and I'm genuinely sorry. That was uncalled for. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, last seen February 26, 2004. He is 5 foot tall, 5 inches, weighs about 119 pounds. Now his weight could be, he could be a little bit smaller now, depending on where he's been, the situation. He has sandy brown hair, brown eyes, really big brown eyes. And he was last seen wearing black track pants that have 2 white stripes on each side and a long sleeve black, we don't know if it was a sweatshirt or like kind of Under Armour stretch, but it does have a character print. It could be anything from Jason to Star Wars, Minecraft, any type of like novelty screen print. And he left with a little, like, one of the little flashlights. When they talk about the flashlight, what they're talking about is he had this little, like, flashlight that fits on a key ring. So it's a little tiny flashlight, like one that you would get out of a $1.20 machine or something like that. Like, one of those. So, that's the most recent information that we have. on Sebastian. We do know that previous to Katie, he was spotted between 6 and 8 by neighbors taking out the trash. That was his chore, was rolling the cans to the end of the road. I believe some people may have spoken to him, I'm not sure, but I do know that he was seen on that day, so between 6 and 8 o'clock. So that seals in the timeline between 9, from 6 to 8. Then we have the household call where Katie calls the work site, and they talk for approximately 2 hours. So this was between 1:43 and 1:47. Most people would say 9:45 to. We do know that according to the layout of the house, that Katie does have to walk through the kitchen to get to the other side of the house where the bedrooms are. So the question that I have there is, if she thought he was making breakfast when she didn't see him in bed, wouldn't she have spotted any type of mess or anything like that in the kitchen, or smelled anything in the kitchen when she walked through the first time? Now, I could be putting too much into this by thinking, like, okay, like, she just woke up, like, she's, like, not paying attention to the kitchen, nobody's in there, it's quiet, she's going to wake up her son. And, then she's like, oh, maybe I just walked right past him, because apparently he used to, like, dart and hide behind stuff and, like, jump out. Well, guys, Sebastian was not playing any games that day. He wasn't there to play any games that day. We don't know where he is. And that is the central point. So, again, I apologize. I'm very disappointed in myself and my behavior. And I hope that I can continue to grow as a person and continue to know when to back it down and not let my emotions get in the way of factual knowledge and opinions. No, factual knowledge versus opinions. Okay. Thank you. And let's bring Sebastian home. Team Sebastian, always. Sebastian's army. Let's do it.